that purpose and calling is one of those questions that all of us deal with, even for those of us that feel like we're walking in. Let me answer that, and I want to give you a recommendation. But I think that most of us are not conditioned to seek what we were created for as much as we seek what we want to do. And so in seeking something to do, you often lose sight of what you were created for. So now I go to college. Right? I get a degree. But that don't give me no purpose. That's giving me a piece of paper. And while the paper is important to be able to open doors, to be able to open doors that otherwise I can't open, it doesn't give me purpose. It doesn't give me fulfillment. It doesn't give me life. It doesn't take all of the gifts that I've been given and try to focus them in an area for which they were created. And so I think that how we do that, and there are others that may have recommendations, and if you do, please share them. But I think it's a process of self-questioning and self-evaluation. And a lot of times you don't find the answer to something until you ask the question. So I constantly ask, Lord, what am I supposed to do today? Where do you want me today? Because I understand that my purpose changes. It evolves. It expands. It narrows. And so the way that a process that I think is helpful is, what are the things that piss you off, that anger you, that make you skin itch, that make you cry, that make you emotional? Because that is your body, your biological self speaking beyond the spirit to give you an indication of a response to something that you're supposed to be involved in changing. Because you can't have emotional reaction without a response. Then you're irresponsible. So if this thing moves me, then on the other side of that emotion is a potential solution. But I got to look for the solution. And in the solution is my purpose. So, and it doesn't even have to be that deep. I mean, it doesn't have to be world hunger. I mean, it can be anything. And I don't think we should limit ourselves into thinking they have to be these huge global things, because most of us have not been called to solve global problems. We've been birthed to solve local problems, because we're local. The local solution helps the global problem. And so if we view ourselves as local, then we are a part of fixing that global problem. The other piece with your question about the chess piece is, first, let's not put value on pieces. Right? A pawn can checkmate a king just like a queen can checkmate a king. It's about how it's used. So there are people that are devaluing themselves as pawns because they're so busy thinking that the queen is better. Right? But oftentimes being a pawn allows you to flow under the radar. There's nobody looking for you. Ain't nobody at the beginning of the game like, I'm gonna take your pawn. Like, I'm gonna take your queen and then you're gonna be useless. The pawns set the perimeter. Without the pawn, the other pieces don't always have the flexibility to move. So we gotta understand that, how many of you have seen chess masters that can play 4 different games at one time? We're not always playing one game. So I was in, where was I? I don't know where I went. I was coming back from this trip where these people had just treated me unbelievably. Like I thought they thought Denzel was coming. Because they put me in first class. I got on the plane. There was a limo. They had me in a presidential suite at the hotel. They had done the most unbelievable marketing I'd ever seen. There were 10,000 people at the event. It was fantastic. I get off this plane in the limo, and I'm telling the limo driver, rush me to the church because I got to get there to set up some chairs. So I was a national youth director at the NAACP, and I was helping my pastor start a church. So at the NAACP, I was a senior staff member of the oldest civil rights organization in the world. At the church, I was a brother helping set up chairs. So on this chessboard, I was a bishop. On this chessboard, I was a pawn. And I was happy being a pawn playing my role, because I understood that if we don't set up the chairs, don't nobody have nowhere to sit. If they don't have anywhere to sit, then there's nowhere that the word can come forth that people can potentially be changed. Setting up the chairs was as important as the message that was coming forth. That was as important as the choir members that were going to be ushering in the spirit. That was as important as the people that were going to be cleaning up afterwards. That was as important as the business manager that made sure that the check cleared so that we could be there in the first place. Don't diminish one role. It's about, am I the best pawn I can be? Not how can I be a knight when I'm a pawn. It's about how can I be the best pawn that I am, the best knight that I am. How can I play the best position that I can on the board that I'm on at this time? Because what will happen is, ultimately, as a pawn, if I get to the end, I can become any piece I want. Ain't that what happened in chess? When the pawn gets to the end, it's replaced by any piece that the player wants. It's about completing that purpose before I evolve to the next level. That make sense?